The day they judged the wrong girl. The boutique on Fifth Avenue gleamed like a crystal palace, its windows flashing with promise and privilege. Inside, the atmosphere was quiet, almost reverent, until the stillness was pierced by a voice as cold as winter glass. "These investment pieces aren't for people like you," Catherine Blackwood said sharply, her tone slicing through the hush like a blade. Her words didn't just land, they lingered, toxic and unmistakable. All eyes turned to the young black woman standing near the evening wear display. Amara Sterling didn't flinch as the security guard approached, his heavy footsteps echoing off the marble floors. His hand hovered near his radio. The message was clear. But Amara? She didn't panic, didn't yell, didn't shrink. She stood still, tall, calm, proud. Her face was composed, her eyes forward, and her silence more powerful than any scream. "Girls like you come in here pretending to be something you're not," Catherine continued, her voice raised enough to make sure the entire boutique heard. Amara didn't turn around. She didn't give them the satisfaction of seeing her break. Instead, she reached calmly into her simple leather purse and pulled out her phone. With steady fingers, she dialed a number she knew by heart. "Dad," she said, her voice composed but tight, "you're not going to believe what just happened." What the staff at Meridian didn't know, what Catherine Blackwood couldn't imagine, was who Amara Sterling really was, and who her father was. Victor Sterling, billionaire founder of Sterling Dynamics, was about to become their worst PR nightmare. Earlier that day, sunlight streamed into the Sterling penthouse, casting golden hues across the Manhattan skyline. Amara stood in her walk-in closet, considering what to wear for her graduation celebration dinner. A Harvard graduate, top of her class in international business, Amara was more than just a brilliant mind. She carried herself with quiet strength. Her mother's grace and her father's confidence lived in her bones. She chose gray sweatpants and a plain white tee. No logos, no jewelry, just Amara, understated and self-assured. "I'm heading to Meridian," she called out as she grabbed her purse. Her father looked up from his reports, concern flickering in his eyes. "Take Marcus with you?" he said, referring to their driver. "I'll be fine, Dad," she smiled. "I just want to enjoy the park." Victor Sterling, CEO of a $30 billion tech empire, watched his daughter walk out the door with pride. She had insisted on staying grounded, despite her status, working summer jobs, using public transport, and never letting the world know who she really was. As Amara strolled through Central Park that morning, breathing in the spring air, she had no idea the day would become a defining chapter in her life. She reached Meridian, a luxury boutique dripping in couture and ego. The store sparkled. Gowns were displayed like artwork. It felt like stepping into another world. Catherine Blackwood, the store manager, looked up from the front desk. With a perfectly tailored navy suit and platinum hair wound into a tight chignon, she was the gatekeeper of exclusivity. One glance at Amara told her everything she thought she needed to know. Plain clothes, no obvious designer, must be here by mistake. "Good morning," Amara said cheerfully. "I'm looking for a dress for a special dinner. Something elegant, but not too formal." Catherine's smile was cool. "What's your budget?" It was an unusual question, blunt and condescending. Amara blinked. "I'm not sure yet. I'd just like to see what you have." Catherine motioned to the back corner of the boutique. "You might find something suitable over there," she said, gesturing toward the sale rack. Amara's smile faltered but held. "Actually, I was hoping to see your current evening wear collection." Catherine's brows lifted. "Our evening collection starts at $8,000. These are investment pieces, not for casual browsing." "I understand," Amara replied calmly. "May I still see them?" Catherine let out a sigh. "I'll need proof of ability to purchase first. Store policy." It wasn't, but the lie rolled off her tongue with practiced ease. Amara's heart pounded, not from fear, but from the familiar ache of being reduced to someone's assumption. "What kind of proof do you require?" "Bank statements, credit pre-authorization, a letter from your financial institution." Around them, white shoppers moved freely, welcomed with warmth and wine. No one asked them for proof. "I don't carry bank statements when I shop," Amara said quietly. "I'm simply looking for a dress." "Miss," Catherine said, voice like polished ice, Meridian caters to a certain clientele. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at Nordstrom or Macy's. That line, soft, almost polite, was the slap in the face. Around the store, people were watching, some with discomfort, others with curiosity, but no one stepped in. Amara took a breath. Her voice didn't crack. "I'd like to speak to your manager." She didn't need to raise her voice. Her calm was louder than any scream. Catherine's laugh was sharp, flat, and devoid of warmth. "I am the manager," she said, each word dripping with smugness. "And I'm telling you, this collection isn't meant for someone in your situation. I'm trying to spare you the embarrassment." Her words twisted like a knife. She claimed to protect Amara, all while orchestrating a moment designed to humiliate her. As if summoned by a silent signal, a uniformed security guard emerged from the back of the boutique. Middle-aged, broad-shouldered, and clearly there for presence rather than assistance, he approached with heavy steps. "Is there a problem here?" he asked, his eyes locked on Amara. "This young woman seems a little confused about our store policy," Catherine replied coolly. "Would you mind helping her find the exit?" Amara's chest tightened. What had begun as a celebratory afternoon had devolved into a public display of subtle cruelty turned overt. It didn't matter that she was a Harvard graduate or the daughter of one of the most successful tech entrepreneurs in the country. To them, all that mattered was how she looked. The security guard's stance grew more imposing. Around them, the atmosphere thickened. Shoppers paused. Phones quietly rose. The quiet luxury of the boutique had been replaced by discomfort and curiosity. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to leave," the guard said firmly. His hand hovered near his radio. The unspoken threat was obvious. Amara's heart pounded, but her voice held steady. "I haven't done anything wrong. I'm a paying customer here to shop." Catherine stepped forward, her voice louder now, performing for the gathering crowd. "You're disrupting our clientele," she announced. "This is a private business. We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone who doesn't meet our standards." The phrase "our standards" echoed across the boutique. Coded, but unmistakable. Amara lifted her chin. "What standards am I violating? I haven't touched anything. I've been polite. So what exactly is the issue?" For a moment, Catherine's polished veneer cracked. She stepped in close, her voice no longer subtle. "The problem," she hissed, "is that girls like you come in pretending to be someone you're not. Touching expensive pieces, taking photos for Instagram, wasting our time. This isn't a thrift store, it's Meridian." The racism was no longer implied. It was loud, brutal, documented by more than a few phones. "Girls like me?" Amara repeated, her voice firm but calm. "Could you clarify that, Miss Blackwood?" The use of her name startled Catherine. Amara had read it from the name tag, a small but telling sign that she was far more observant than the manager had assumed. "Don't get clever," Catherine snapped. "Security now." The guard moved in, but Amara raised her hand. "It's fine. I'll leave," she said. Her voice was low, even, but laced with quiet power. She turned to face the watching crowd. "I want you all to remember what you just saw. I came here to buy a dress for my graduation. I was turned away, insulted, and escorted out. Not because of anything I did, but because of assumptions made about me the moment I walked in the door." She paused, her gaze steady and unwavering. "If you think discrimination doesn't still exist, remember this moment." With her head held high, Amara turned and walked out into the sunlight, the sting of humiliation radiating beneath her calm exterior. She moved down Fifth Avenue, found a quiet bench in Central Park, and sat in silence. Her hands trembled slightly as she pulled out her phone. The adrenaline was fading. The ache was setting in. She called the number she knew by heart. "Princess," came the voice on the other end, warm, familiar, steady. "How's the dress shopping going?" Amara closed her eyes. "Dad," she whispered, "something happened." Her father, Victor Sterling, billionaire founder of Sterling Dynamics, was silent as she told him everything. The questions about her finances, the way she was directed to the sales section, the security guard, the final insult. She ended with a name, Catherine Blackwood. "She's the manager at Meridian." There was a long pause. "I just wanted to buy a dress for dinner," Amara said softly. "That's all." Victor's voice dropped to a quiet, lethal calm. You didn't start the trouble, baby girl, but trouble's about to find out what it costs to judge a sterling by appearance. Amara could hear the sound of typing, the rapid keystrokes of a man who built an empire, now focused on defending his daughter. Dad, please don't do anything crazy, she said gently. I want to forget this. Forget it? Victor repeated, his voice tightening with controlled fury. Amara, that woman didn't just insult you, she insulted everything we've built. And with that, the reckoning had begun. She didn't just insult you, Victor Sterling said, his voice low and measured. She insulted our family, our success, and every person who's ever been told they don't belong because of how they look. In the background, Amara could hear the familiar sound of her father's empire activating, his assistant being summoned, phones ringing, and rapid-fire instructions being issued like a general preparing for battle. I'm calling a car for you, he continued, his tone shifting into the calm focus that had made him one of Silicon Valley's most formidable dealmakers. And I'm calling an emergency board meeting. By the time I'm finished, Catherine Blackwood will learn exactly what it costs to discriminate against the wrong person. Dad, what are you planning? Amara asked. Victor's answer was quiet but pulsing with fury. Tomorrow, Meridian will understand that Sterling Dynamics doesn't just build technology, we build consequences. As Amara ended the call, a mix of apprehension and awe filled her. She knew her father well, and she knew Catherine Blackwood had just made the costliest mistake of her life. The next morning, Meridian's flagship boutique on Fifth Avenue opened at precisely 10 a.m. and was immediately greeted by a striking sight. A convoy of sleek black Mercedes SUVs lined the curb, engines humming like quiet thunder. From the lead car stepped Victor Sterling, dressed sharply in a charcoal gray suit that radiated understated power. Behind him followed a line of professionals, attorneys, auditors, and executives, each carrying briefcases and tablets armed with data, contracts, and legal authority. Inside the boutique, Catherine Blackwood glanced up from her morning inventory review and saw the group approaching. Her first thought was excitement. High-profile clients sometimes arrived with entourages, and this one looked promising. She quickly adjusted her jacket, smoothed her hair, and flashed a practiced, welcoming smile. Good morning. Welcome to Meridian. I'm Catherine Blackwood, store manager. How can I help you today? Victor didn't take her outstretched hand. He simply looked her over, calm and assessing. Miss Blackwood, he said evenly, I believe you met my daughter yesterday. Catherine's smile froze. Her hand dropped slightly as her mind scrambled. Your daughter? Amara Sterling, Victor replied, loud enough for everyone in the boutique to hear. Harvard Business School graduate, future CEO of Sterling Dynamics, 22 years old, black, and according to you, apparently unworthy of respect in this establishment. The blood drained from Catherine's face. She knew that name. Everyone in luxury business knew that name. Sterling Dynamics was a tech titan. Its CEO was a billionaire many times over. Mr. Sterling, there must be some misunderstanding. The only misunderstanding, Victor cut in smoothly, was yours. You misunderstood who you were dealing with. You misunderstood what century we live in. And you completely misunderstood what your bias would cost you. He turned slightly. Begin the audit. Like clockwork, Victor's team dispersed through the boutique. Lawyers requested documentation. Analysts began reviewing records. Every detail, from receipts to hiring practices, was scrutinized. Catherine looked like she might faint. Congratulations, Miss Blackwood, Victor said coldly. You're about to be unemployed by your new owner. 6 months later. Where the Meridian sign once hung in gold above the boutique now stood a new name, Amara's. It was elegant, bold, and it marked the rebirth of a brand under new leadership. Inside, cameras flashed and reporters buzzed as Amara Sterling stood poised in front of the ribbon, now the boutique's creative director and chief diversity officer. 6 months ago, Amara said to the gathered crowd, her voice confident and clear, I was judged not by my character or education, but by assumptions. Today we're proving that luxury and inclusion are not opposites. They're inseparable. The store behind her was transformed. Gone were the intimidating airs and coded condescension. In their place was a vibrant, welcoming space where fashion met fairness. Price tags were transparent. The staff reflected the city's diversity, and every guest, regardless of background or appearance, was treated with respect. Amara's comprehensive training program, centered on bias awareness and customer service excellence, was already being adopted by business schools and other retail chains. Across town, Catherine Blackwood now worked behind the counter of a discount department store. Blacklisted from high-end retail and widely known from viral videos, her fall from grace had been swift. Ironically, when a young black woman entered the store one afternoon, Catherine offered the courteous, attentive service she once denied others. Victor watched with pride as his daughter cut the ribbon. The acquisition and transformation of Meridian had cost over $200 million, but to him, it had been worth every cent. That evening, at the long-delayed family dinner, Amara raised a glass. "You didn't just buy a company, Dad. You bought accountability." The success of Amara's sent shockwaves through the luxury industry. Retailers everywhere began reassessing their practices, fearful of becoming the next cautionary tale. Looking out at the city skyline, Amara smiled. What had started as one of the worst days of her life had become the turning point in changing an entire industry. Because sometimes justice isn't just about punishment, it's about building something better. And sometimes the most expensive mistake someone can make is underestimating the power of a young black woman and her billionaire father. If you believe every human being deserves respect, regardless of their appearance, background, or bank account, type respect in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe so more people can hear stories that matter. See you in the next one.